Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to pull back the curtain on the corporate world. We all have jobs or we're looking for them, and there's this one mysterious department that seems to hold all the keys.
The engine room of the workforce, and often the most misunderstood room in the building.
Exactly. They decide who gets in, who decide, crucially, who gets paid, and honestly, they have a massive hand in deciding whether you actually enjoy showing up on Monday.
Or if you're dreading it all weekend.
Yeah. We are talking about human resource management, or HRM. Now, to navigate this, we're looking at a really comprehensive guide from Regent Business School.
Right. It's titled 10 Highest Paying Careers in Human Resources Management.
So the mission for today is pretty straightforward. We want to find out what HR professionals actually do all day.
Beyond the stereotypes.
Right, and why this industry is surprisingly lucrative. And specifically, we're going to walk through 10 of these high-paying career paths.
And I think that surprise element is really important here because there is this massive misconception about the field.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, be honest. If you ask the average person what HR does, what do they say?
Filing paperwork.
Filing paperwork. Or maybe planning the office party.
The party planners, yes.
Yeah.
Or the classic trope, being the person who hands you a box when you get fired.
Right. The compliance police.
Yeah.
But the source material, it defines HRM in a much more fundamental way.
It does. It calls it the process of enhancing employee experience.
Enhancing employee experience. Okay, that sounds a lot better than filing paperwork. But is that just corporate jargon, or does it mean something real?
It's actually quite tangible. I mean, think about it. It covers the entire life cycle of an employee.
From hiring to retirement.
Exactly. From the moment you're hired to working in a place where you feel safe to gaining new skills so you don't get stuck. The guide breaks down a good employee experience into 3 specific pillars.
Okay, let's unpack those. What does a good experience actually look like?
First, you have company culture. It's the simple question. Do you enjoy working with your coworkers?
Which sounds fluffy, but it's so important.
It's huge. Second is skill enhancement. Can you actually advance your career there, or is it a dead end? And third, and this is the big one now, is work-life balance.
So we have some hard numbers on this, right? This part of the research really jumped out at me. The source pulls data from Statista.
Yes, and the numbers are just staggering. Statista found that 41% of employees quit their jobs because of a lack of career development.
41%. That's almost half the workforce walking out because they feel stagnant.
It's a massive retention issue, and hiring new people is not cheap.
No.
Exactly. And on the flip side, the source notes that 53% of people stay at a job specifically because of a good work-life balance. So HR isn't just about being nice.
It's about retention. It's risk management where the assets are human beings.
Precisely. And the guide outlines 7 main functions that support all this.
Okay, what are they?
You've got recruitment, training, employee relations, compensation and benefits, policies and law, performance management, and finally, safety and health.
7 functions. It's like 7 different businesses wrapped into one department.
It really is.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. The guide lists 10 high-paying careers, and I want to start with the money.
The primary motivating factor, for sure.
Of course. And the source starts with a role that deals with that directly. The payroll specialist.
Yeah.
Now, to me, this sounds like the ultimate don't mess this up role.
That's a very accurate way to put it. Their job is processing timesheets, managing the payroll.
So making sure everyone gets paid the right amount and on time.
Critically, on time. It sounds simple, but the details are a nightmare.
I can imagine. You're dealing with banking info, tax policies, overtime laws.
Garnishments, yeah.
Yeah.
If you mess up tax compliance, the company is in huge trouble. If you mess up the timing, your employees can't pay their mortgages.
So you have a mutiny on your hands. The high pay comes from the high stakes then.
Exactly. But then there's another role here that sounds similar but is completely different. The compensation manager.
Right. I found this distinction really interesting. So if the payroll specialist pushes the button,
The compensation manager builds the entire system. They design the payment structure.
so they're the ones deciding what a job is actually worth. How do they even figure that out?
It's all data analysis. The source explains that they analyze employee levels or echelons. They ensure pay matches experience, skills, and responsibilities.
And they had to benchmark against competitors, right?
Absolutely. What is Google paying? What's the startup down the street paying? And they have to make sure the structures evolve with federal and state laws.
So it's strategic. You're balancing the company budget against the need to attract the best talent.
It's the golden handcuffs puzzle. How do we pay people enough so they never want to leave, but not so much that we go bankrupt?
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so right next to Beak is perks, the benefits manager. And this isn't just picking a health insurance plan, is it?
No, this has become a huge battlefield for talent. A benefits manager examines market trends to figure out what makes a company a desirable employer.
So they're the ones making sure the company stays competitive.
Right.
Like if a competitor starts offering pet insurance or something.
Exactly. Or fertility treatments or sabbatical leave. The benefits manager is the one crunching the numbers to see if they can and should match it.
It's a key part of that recruitment function then.
A huge part. You can't hire the best talent if your benefits package is stuck in the 90s.
Speaking of hiring, let's pivot to the people roles. The guide lists the recruiter as a high-paying career.
Yeah, and this role has changed so much.
It's not just post an ad in the paper anymore, is it?
Not at all. The source describes the modern recruiter almost like a hunter.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for the phone to ring.
They're proactive, scouring LinkedIn, social media.
Looking for qualified candidates who might not even be looking for a job. The passive candidate.
And they negotiate salaries, which, that's intense.
It is. They have to balance the company's financial interests with the candidate's personal interests. And they're looking for someone who will help the company succeed 5 years from now.
So it's very results-oriented. A lot of them work on commission, right?
Yes. Getting a bounty for landing a top-tier engineer or an executive, that's why the earning potential is so high. It's essentially sales.
You're selling the company to the candidate and the candidate to the company.
Spot on.
Now, once you get those people in the door, you have to teach them how to do the work. Which brings us to the training coordinator.
Yes, and what's interesting here is that the source notes, they sometimes collaborate with HR, almost sitting a bit outside of it.
Right, like under learning and development.
Exactly. They are laser focused on bridging the skills gap. They have to choose training programs that align with company goals and the budget. But the tricky part is the logistics.
Because you can't just shut down operations for a week to teach everyone a new software.
Precisely. The guide mentions they have to schedule training around employee work to avoid jeopardizing productivity.
Oh, that is a tightrope walk. Hey, you need to learn this, but also don't stop doing your actual job.
It requires a lot of logistical planning. And you have to sell the value of the training to managers who just want their team working.
Now, there's one role in this section that I think gets overlooked. The office manager. Why does this make the high earner list?
I'm so glad you asked that. The office manager is the unsung hero. They are the glue.
Holding the physical workplace together.
And the digital one, too.
Yeah.
The source notes, they suggest tools and software to enhance productivity. They're not just ordering staplers.
Right.
Think about operational flow. If the office manager isn't on their game, meetings get double booked, software licenses expire. It's chaos.
So in a high growth company, they're basically the head of operations for the physical space.
That's a great way to put it. It's a huge responsibility.
Okay, so we've covered the money, hiring, and training. Now for the really tricky stuff, the peacekeeper roles.
Or, more formally, employee relations.
Right, so first up is the labor relations specialist. This sounds very legal.
It's the analytical side of fairness. These specialists analyze company contracts to make sure salaries and benefits are distributed fairly according to the agreements.
So this is especially for places with a union or a collective bargaining agreement.
Yes. Think manufacturing, education, healthcare. The labor relations specialist is analyzing the fine print of that union contract.
So they're preventing strikes and lawsuits.
Exactly. They are preventing industrial action. That's definitely worth a high salary.
Okay, and then we have the employee relations manager. How is that different?
Think of them as the diplomat. While the labor relations specialist focuses on the contract, the employee relations manager manages the relationships.
Can you give me an example?
So let's say two managers have a personality clash that's disrupting the whole team. It doesn't violate a union contract, but it's a problem.
The employee relations manager steps in.
To resolve it peacefully, as the source puts it, they're also proactive, setting up policies to encourage a happy work environment before the conflict even starts.
The UN of the office. That sounds emotionally exhausting.
It requires incredible emotional intelligence.
Now, sitting above all this is the human resource manager, the boss.
The overseer, yeah. They handle all of it. Hiring, policies, training. But their specific goal is ensuring employee satisfaction with the environment and their salaries.
So they're looking at the whole chessboard.
Correct. They have to understand how recruitment affects culture, how compensation affects retention. They're the strategic partner to the CEO, aligning the people strategy with the business strategy.
And there's one more role on this list, and it sounds like the most complex one of all. The International Human Resource Manager.
Oh, this is a fascinating role for our globalized world.
Because you can't just copy-paste your HR policies from New York to Tokyo.
Not at all. Labor laws in France are radically different from labor laws in the US.
I mean, in some countries, you can't email employees after 6 p.m.
Exactly. The international HR manager has to navigate that minefield. They implement compensation plans based on different country laws. They recruit across borders.
And they have to maintain a cohesive company culture when people are thousands of miles apart.
It's a massive challenge. You're a lawyer, a cultural ambassador, and a strategist all in one.
You're dealing with currencies, tax treaties, visa sponsorships.
Yeah,
It's the Olympics of HR.
it really is.
So we've got these 10 roles.
Yeah.
And the guide makes a distinction here that I think is useful. It talks about being a generalist versus a specialist. Can we clarify that?
Sure. It's a bit like a GP versus a surgeon. An HR generalist handles multiple functions.
Jack of all trades.
Exactly. They might do a bit of recruiting in the morning and run a training session in the afternoon. You see this a lot in smaller companies.
Right.
An HR specialist, on the other hand, dives deep into just one of those functions, like the compensation manager we talked about. That's a specialist. You do one thing at an expert level.
Got it. So if you like variety, be a generalist. If you love deep diving into data, be a specialist.
That's a fair way to look at it.
Regardless of which path you choose, the source lists some essential soft skills. And this list, it's a checklist for being a good human.
It really is. They list communication, empathy, problem solving, conflict resolution, discretion, ethics.
Discretion is a big one. They're in HR, you know everyone's salary, you know who's having health issues.
You know who's getting fired next week. You hold the secrets of the organization. If you're a gossip, you cannot work in HR.
In emotional intelligence, right? You're dealing with people's livelihoods.
You have to be able to read the room. You have to deliver bad news with compassion.
So if someone's listening and thinking, hey, I'm empathetic, I'm organized, I can keep a secret, how do they get into this field? What's the path?
Well, the source is pretty clear on the latter here. First, education. Management positions usually require a degree. The guide specifically mentions the Bachelor of Commerce, or BCom, in human resource management.
Why a BCom specifically? Why not just a psychology degree?
Because HR is a business function. You need to understand the numbers, the law, and the organizational structure, not just the psychology.
Okay, so you get the degree, then what?
Then, work experience. The source suggests you can even do this while you're studying. Apply for entry-level positions or internships.
Get your foot in the door. HR assistant, recruiting coordinator, something like that.
Exactly.
Aye.
Then you build a robust resume. And finally, after a few years, you apply for those management positions.
It seems like a very structured career path.
It is. And the best part is that every company needs HR,
Big or small.
big or small. The demand is consistent. It's not a niche industry. If there are employees, there needs to be HR.
It's impressive how diverse this field is. We started this deep dive thinking about filing cabinets, and we've ended up talking about international law, data analysis, and strategic business planning.
That's the beauty of it. It's the intersection of business goals and human needs.
The intersection of business goals and human needs. I like that. It's not just about policing people, it's about enabling them.
A company is nothing without its people.
Yeah.
You can have the best product, but if your people are unhappy or untrained, you'll fail.
So HR is the department that makes sure people can function and thrive.
Exactly.
So whether you're a numbers person, a people person, or a peacekeeper, there's a slide for you.
And a well-paying one at that.
That is the cherry on top.
I would just leave the listener with this thought. We often talk about human resources as if humans are the resource, like coal or electricity.
Something to be used up.
Right. But the modern approach, the one we see in this guide, is about managing the environment for the humans. It raises a question for anyone entering the field. Are you just managing resources, or are you championing potential?
That's a great question to mull over. Are you managing resources or championing potential? If you felt a spark during this episode, maybe it's time to update that resume. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
We'll catch you on the next one.